Good morning. Welcome to Fishful Thinker. I'm Chad LaChance. This is BASS Elite Pro Matt Reed right here running the boat. We're on Falcon Lake in South Texas. On impoundment on the Rio Grande River. We're actually on the Mexican side of the lake right now. We are on a Texas vacation. This is the Fishful Thinker Texas vacation. Stay tuned, get comfortable. This ought to be fun.
Let's get them.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Berkeley, catch more fish. Abu Garcia, for life. Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Ranger Boats, still building legends one at a time. Evinrude, spend more time on the water. Lawrence, find, navigate, dominate.
So our plan here is we're staying 2 days. We're gonna come down here with Matt. We're gonna fish for 2 days on the lake. We're gonna fish today, tomorrow. We're gonna see what happens. It's been really cold. It's been in the 30-degree temperature range here within the last week. The water's real cold. We're in 58, 59-degree water, cold for down here. Not ideal conditions. We're gonna fish for 2 days. We flew our stuff down. We flew in yesterday. We'll fish today, tomorrow. We'll go home. And we chose to come down here because Matt's an old friend of ours and we've wanted to fish here for a long time. But the reality is it's a vacation type show. So it's a little different deal for us. We're just out here looking for some big ones. Now Matt and I met fishing Lake Okeechobee in the wintertime on a BASS Top 150. Is that
Top
what they call
150,
it?
I believe. I took you for a fun boat ride.
Boat ride, 50 miles across the middle of Lake Okeechobee on about a 20-mile-an-hour north wind. Not a good strategy.
No.
But we've stayed friends, and you know, I've said for a long time, one of the best ways to advance as an angler is to fish with guys that are much better than you at whatever it is you're doing. So we've stayed in touch for more than a dozen years now. We may use a lot of today's fishing to work out what we do tomorrow. So my prediction is, and I haven't talked with Matt about this, he's the expert, but I haven't talked with Matt. My prediction is we'll learn a bunch of stuff today that we will then use to help us tomorrow catch our fish a little faster and a little easier. So we'll see what happens. We're maybe an hour into our fishing, a little more than that right now, and we're kind of just getting warmed up. The big thing about coming to a place like this is fishing's fishing, bass fishing's bass fishing. The relations to channels, the cover, the big wood versus the little wood versus the bushes versus, you know, whatever, all that stuff you got to work out on any given day. And it doesn't matter whether you're on vacation in Texas or on your home lake, you know, it's all the same as far as that goes. And so we'll have to work it out.
In doing this, Chad, I don't expect to get a ton of bites,
No.
but if we get some bites on this, a lot of times they're really good fish. So.
Well, and I'd like to catch, and I'll tell you flat out, you don't get on a plane and fly to a place in southern Texas to catch 2.5 pounders. We are looking for big ones.
That is not your intent.
No, I would rather catch 2 or 3 big ones and have that kind of a day than come down here and catch 32 pounders. I could have went to Pueblo Reservoir in Colorado and done that. And so for sure we're looking for some big ones.
Are you sure it's not frozen over there right now?
Actually, only half of it is.
Only
not
half.
so bad. And there we'd be throwing a jig and spoon. I can pretty much tell you right now, you'd be jig and spoon in the Arkansas River channel at that point. Now, how long have you been guiding down here?
I've been coming down for about 7 years. So
7 years.
yeah, I'll come down and I've been down for 6 weeks this time. I come down a bunch and, you know, a couple weeks at a time. So.
And you only guide when you're not touring?
When I'm not on tour, yeah. When I'm not doing that. So in the winter, I'm down a bunch, and the rest of the year there'll be some periods I can come down for a couple weeks at a time. So.
When's your favorite time to fish here?
You know, you got a shot to catch a really big one in January or February, but my favorite is because of my style of fishing. I prefer like April, May, June, July, when they get out on the structure, you get away from the shore, but it's really not a bad time to be down here. You'll catch giants every month of the year.
So then you're down deep cranking or football head jigs?
That kind of stuff. They relate to rock a whole lot that time of year.
Now I'll tell you, we always talk about on Fishful Thinker how accuracy is so important, line control is so important. Well, it don't matter if I got the goat rope and the big stick, it's still the same thing. Accuracy and line control around here. You start throwing this spinnerbait up in all these trees. First of all, I'm out throw you in the lake, but second of all, you just won't catch very many fish. And so before I came down here, I've been fishing my whole life. Before I came down here, I still made a bunch of practice casts in the yard, like a couple hundred of them over the course of a week, just to make sure I was at least reasonably tuned up before we came down here. If you're a regular viewer of this show, you know we always throw spinnerbaits on either fluorocarbon or some sort of heavy monofilament. And you can see, I'll show you the blade we're throwing here. It's a pretty substantial spinnerbait right there. It's 3/4 of an ounce. What'd you say, ProfoundOutdoors.com?
ProfoundOutdoors.com is a swamper's lure. It's actually my signature
cool
series spinnerbait. It's Lake Falcon Big Bass Special is what it's called. So
now I'd like to see a Falcon Special.
You do. You want to see a Falcon Special. You want to see them somewhere besides on my Facebook page? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I saw 49-degree water temperature here
in Texas
a couple weeks ago in South Texas. I mean, and that's...
Yes, well, let me rephrase that, Mexico.
And, you know, it just doesn't ever do that. You know, lots of parts of the country, that wouldn't sound bad at all.
No.
At about 53 degrees, these Mexico fish think it's frozen over. Like,
I don't start to worry until about 39 degrees. Now, it was only less than a week ago, it was 30 degrees here.
Right. Oh, heck, this week, what is today? I don't even know what today is. Today's Monday. It was less than a week ago. We had 30-degree mornings for a couple. It did warm up those days. Heck, I had some days the week before that where it never got above 34 or 5 all day. And that doesn't happen down here all that often.
No, not in Mexico.
Yeah, man, anytime you go somewhere, Chad, that's really important. You need to fish the fish and let them kind of lead you in the right direction. Don't look around and see what everybody else is doing. A lot of times they're just out there fishing and hadn't got them figured out at all.
Yeah, any more than you have.
That's right. The masses are going to, you know, they're going to gravitate to the shore. That's just nature.
Sure.
I gravitate away from it if at all possible.
And I think that's a large difference between a lot of the top pros and Joe average, is that a lot of the pros, it seems like, when we fished with several of them over the years, have said the same thing. They don't want to be on the bank necessarily if they can avoid it, because you can't really gain an advantage on the bank unless you're really good at something.
Oh, fish on.
There we go.
It's just a regular little fish.
But dang it, does that mean I don't get to eat? Let me get up and out of the way. I'll get him right here.
Yeah, you want to get him?
You gonna swing that one? Oh, you can swing him up in here. You got him. There you go. Now.
Well, there's a start.
There's a start. That's a pretty start right there. Oh, nicely done. What do you got there? That's a good
girl.
That's a nice chunky one. Now there's a jillion of them that size in here, huh?
Right. That's just a little male, 3-pound male. So.
Oh, nice. Give me some. Well, that's how you do it. Good thing I didn't bet him dinner.
That's right. Made me fish hard just talking about it. So.
Yeah, I guess. Now, see, you got him in this mesquite,
he was
the
in the
multi-branch mesquite. You called that correctly. He said they'd be in the mesquite.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors. Peterson Toyota and Toyota Trucks, moving forward. Lawrence, find, navigate, dominate.
They're not all in them, but that is the preferable wood because it's harder.
There you go. It's harder. So there's mesquite right there. I'm gonna throw in there right there. Now he got on the wind out off the tree a little bit.
Yeah, he was out down a little bit off of it. So.
Okay. And you were on the wind. I happened to be looking and I ain't gonna lie to you, I'm gonna pay attention to everything this guy does. If you've made a living for 12 years competing against the best guys in the country, the last thing I'm gonna do is argue with him, I can tell you that.
Right now, the main cover is gonna be the wood and the flooded vegetation. But what you need to take out of this area, I mean, you look through here and there's timber sticking up everywhere, but it's all different.
Right.
You need to be able to read what type of timber is there and you know, that'll tell you kind of what the terrain is just by the type of the timber. Some of those people that also believes you don't go around fish around the edge of the cover first.
Yeah.
If you want to catch him, the big one, you go after him on the first shot.
Yeah,
you don't give him a warning. I mean,
I believe that 100%.
Your best chance to get him to react is when it comes through the first time.
Some big line. I'm pretty sure the straight braid.
Does this qualify for big line, Chad?
By my standards,
in Colorado, is this big line?
This is, yeah, this is big line in Colorado. Yeah.
All right, I just wondered.
Yeah, I could anchor my boat with this line, just for the record. I could tie that big old boat up and it would not float away. When I fished with Steve Kennedy, and he had run down a whole section of bank and stopped and fished one little transition in the rock.
Right,
and
where
then
it went from ledge rock to chunk rock,
Exactly.
or chunk rock to pea gravel, or
Yep, chunk rock to pea gravel was actually the one he was looking the most for.
That's the pre-spawn transition, the chunk rock to pea gravel.
Well, that was his chunk rock. Okay, so note to self, people, write that one down. Chunk rock to pea gravel in the pre-spawn. So if you're in our home viewing area, you're probably talking realistically early May in a lot of the lakes. Think about chunk rock to pea gravel. And we always talk about transitions on this show, if you know. We're always talking about transitions, and that's a good one.
My transition usually goes winter, you're going to be on the ledge rock, and then those channel swing ends of ledge rock, and then the closer to the spawn you get, they roll toward the chunk rock at the ends where those channels give up, and then they're going to rotate to gravitate toward the pea gravel.
There you go. That's right. You notice I got over here and listened close to that? That's the kind of information you need to get. That's the kind of stuff that will make you pick a lake down in a hurry, all other things being equal. There's a big one. Holy
just a nice one. It's just a male.
Dude, I saw that thing eat. I was looking. That is awesome. That fish rolled out that big. You gonna swing that thing?
Oh, yeah, that's just a little fish.
You know you're on a cool place to fish when you just swing in those. Now we want to get a good close look at this one. We got to get a look at that.
This is actually a female.
Look at
that
that
fish. Probably let go of some eggs.
You got a little bit of blood on that in there, but should be no worse for the wear. That's pretty.
Right. Get on back in here, buddy. Go back and finish your project.
All right. So right at the base of that big tree, as soon as
you ready to jump? You didn't want to show for the camera.
Nicely done. See why he's the expert? I want to show real quick, Cameron, let's look at that tree. That's a big giant tree, and there's one shady spot, and that fish boiled that spinnerbait right on the shady side of that biggest tree. Now you look around, that is the biggest tree in this entire area. And that fish ate that thing right on cue, and I saw her roll up and eat it.
Mesquite.
That's good stuff, man. That's good
nice
stuff
one.
right there.
I'm still ready for a big one, but that'll work.
That'll work, yeah. That's so I guess we had put his 2 for about maybe 8 or 9 pounds right now. 8 pounds probably right now, a couple 4-pounders.
That'd be nice.
Something like that. So we're getting there, but we're gaining on it.
1 ounce at a time.
Well, that's nicely done. That make me want to pick up the spinnerbait again.
Oh, what I tell you earlier?
I know. He told me. He says, I'll give him credit since he said that. If they quit biting the spinnerbait, what do? Keep throwing the spinnerbait. He told me it's going to be a spinnerbait bite one way or the other. I'll pick mine up now.
Yeah, hopefully.
On that big tree, that was Yahtzee right there.
That was a pretty spot.
That was a pretty good bite. I happened to be looking right at her when she bit that, and that's a good sign. We're on the shady side of that tree. So that's a serious pattern detail that I would look at as we work through here. It was kind of my thought with a pitch bait. I was throwing a pitch bait around some. It's like, well, maybe they just don't want to come up and get the spinnerbait. But apparently it's about hitting one in the face.
That's right. It's just, they're just being stubborn. You just got to keep at it.
Holy smokes. Huh, nicely done.
Fishful Thinker Television is brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, America's premier outfitter. St. Croix Rod, best rods on earth. Camp Chef, the way to cook outdoors.
All right, so when you get a chance to get in a boat with a guy who chases fish for a living and has to compete against the top, there's 100 of y'all on the tour, right?
That's correct.
So there's 100 guys. So he's got to be fishing against the top 100 guys in the country all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, and I want one-word answers, and they're gonna relate to how you're choosing where you fish when you come to a giant lake. This lake's 80,000 acres when it's full. It's not full right now, but just to give you an idea, most lakes you fish are 50,000 or above, probably 40, 50,000 acres. Okay, so here we go. Choosing where you fish. Windy spot or calm spot?
Windy.
Windy spot. Clear water or muddy water?
Dirty water.
Dirty water. Warmer water or colder water?
Warmer water.
Okay. Do you want to fish shady sides or sunny sides?
Spring or summer?
Spring or summer? That's a good question. Okay, so let's call it summer.
Summer is shady.
Shady spots. You like the shade. Okay. Pea gravel or chunk rock?
Spring, pea gravel.
Chunk rock in the summer.
Yeah.
Okay, and always probably the transition.
Yes.
Okay, steep banks or flat banks?
Steep every time but the spawn.
Steep every time but the spawn, okay? And let's see here, horizontal baits or vertical baits?
Horizontal is my nature.
Horizontal's in your nature, okay? And that's just a speed thing, cover more water.
Yes.
Okay, that makes good sense. Natural colors or loud colors?
Yes.
Yes. Spot number 2, day number 1. As you can see, it's slicked off and it's got hot. And we're on a hunt and gather right here. Now, the lake's transitioning really fast. No question about that. As the water temperatures come up and these fish are starting to think more and more and more towards the spawn. So this is closest to the bank as we've been yet. And we'll see what happens here. So we put a little bit lighter spinner baits on in terms of physical weight, and water's obviously shallower. What are we looking at for depth?
Oh, we're gonna be in, 2 to 4 or 5 foot of water.
Okay.
We've changed totally. We've gone from a pre-spawn situation. Earlier we were on a channel. We're back in a backwater area with does have a channel that kind of leads into it, but we're looking for fish that are much closer to spawn and that are actually maybe set up to spawn. And our water temperature in here is probably going to be mid-60s right now.
That was a bite right there. I just had a bite right there.
So it's we've changed our whole deal, looking for fish that are actually trying to spawn instead of the pre-spawn fish.
Okay, now I just had a fish slap the bait right here. I actually saw him bump it. It was not that far down, and I got a white flash on it, and he bumped it. He did not get a hold of it. So I was throwing a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait chosen on color. I'm of the opinion, and we'll see what Matt says about this, far more important than color is depth and speed. And I feel like that also another key part is I need the bait to be very accurate, very presentable. And I've got this on one of my heaviest rods, and I wasn't making as accurate throws, and I wasn't been able to get the bait to line out quite like I wanted it to. So I'm going back to a heavier one that I can throw accurately around cover and also work a little bit faster. So we'll see what happens. But
yeah, right now it's a real key to keep your bait moving, but also have it down in
the water column.
In the water column some. You don't want to.
Where are you at?
There we go.
Got him.
Be a good one. I'm gonna head that way. Oh yeah, there's a good one.
Come on there. He told me I had to lean on him.
Come through the tree.
I'm gonna keep him through this. Oh, it's a big old donkey. Good Lord, got him in there. Oh, he got me in that nasty stuff. All right. Is that why you wanted the braid on there, Matt?
That's why we want the braid.
Holy smokes, that's a big one. Get him out of the trolling motor.
All right.
Oh, buddy, I've been wanting to catch one of these.
Over.
Come on, bring
big
him over
old pretty
here.
One.
Come on up here, baby.
You got it?
Yep.
All right.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Come on, give me some.
Some of that.
That's
a big old fish. She's already been spawning.
That is a ugly but beautiful. Who set that? That is an ugly, gorgeous, one-eyed behemoth. Look at the tail. That fish is battled. Look at the jaw on that thing.
There you go.
I've been wanting one of them.
That's how you throw a spinnerbait.
Yeah, and when they quit biting, keep throwing the spinnerbait. Yeah, sure enough, dude. And that fish clobbered it.
All right.
Holy smokes. Let's get a quick still photo. All right, guys, one more quick look. That's a beauty right there. That's why you go on a Texas vacation. Come down and fish with Matt. We're gonna put this in here and let her go quick. We've
Bye, honey.
Yeah,
see you
let her
later.
do her thing.
There you go.
Look at her as she goes, paddles off strong. Outstanding. So fishing's been tough. I mean, when it's tough, even little bites are exciting, but big ones like that, yeah. Matt said, keep throwing the spinnerbait. So
keep grinding.
yeah, I kept throwing the spinnerbait.
We'll get one of them bug-eyed suckers eventually.
How cool is that? All right. Thank you very much.
See.
Like I said, our plan's 2 days. As you guys can see, we're winding down our evening. We got a little bit of a late start this morning, like 10:30 this morning by the time we made our first cast, and it's probably going on about 4 o'clock this afternoon at this point. And so we're gonna come back tomorrow and we're gonna take a swing and see what happens. Now, one good thing is we've got supposed to have warm, stable weather again tomorrow, at least last I looked, and so we'll be on a couple of day trend at least instead of a drastic change. So that ought to be interesting. The other thing is I feel like I'm a little tuned up now in terms of expectations of what I'm getting into, so that'll give me a chance to mentally prepare a little bit more. I think when you come on vacation to a place like this, you automatically assume you're gonna pound 10 pounders. And the problem is you still gotta have the right conditions. It's still 70, 80,000 acres. you still got to execute, you still got to find them, and all the same things apply regardless of whether they're in here or not. That's not the point. The one thing that is easy about being in a place like this is you have the opportunity to keep a good mindset, because you know any one of these casts could just be ridiculously cool. And so keeping that focus all day is the key. The problem I'm having right now, in all honesty, is my focus is waning because there's ice cold beer and giant ribeyes at the house. And we love us an ice cold beer and a giant ribeye. And so we're gonna have us a Matt Reed special. And an integral part of the vacation, I'm gonna end today's show with this. The integral part of the vacation is having fun. Like Matt just said a couple minutes ago, his favorite customer is the one that wants to have a good time. Well, fish ain't always gonna bite. And you might always go to a tournament and drop your $5 grand and not get the fish to bite. That's just part of the deal. But having the right idea, the right mindset, the right mental fortitude to not let it get you down, go home, enjoy your steak tonight, and come back and start it again tomorrow and hope they do bite tomorrow.
Fish on. Ooh, there's a good one. There we go. Come on. Good way to start today.
Oh man, I guess.
Fish on.
Ooh, there we go. That sends a big one.
Oh yeah, there comes Falcon special.
Coming right there.
One more.
There we go. Now we're gonna keep him. Don't jump, don't jump. Right.
Just a regular small fish.
Lucky number 7.
Look at that. You like that one? They make those here.
That's what it all comes down to. So, Matt, I want to say with that, wait a minute. He's focused right now. We gotta watch out. Now I'm gonna get out of his way. Don't blast me with that.
On it right there.
Don't blast me with that big old spinnerbait rod.
We're good.
I think at this point, guys, we're gonna put this boat on the trailer. We're not too far from where we put in. We've covered quite a bit of the lake. We've had a great time. We've caught some fish, caught some nice fish. Didn't catch as many as we wanted, and we'll be back tomorrow and see what we can catch. So Matt, you think we got a good strategy for tomorrow?
Oh yeah, we'll go out and probably, we're gonna look at some different water and do a little bit different thing, but we'll figure them out as we go. I mean, it changes every day, so we're looking forward to getting back out there. And I want to show these Colorado folks what a Falcon special looks like. We hadn't got that done yet. We need to be sure it happens.
Well, that's our goal. We want a Falcon special. We'll see how it goes, but if not, we're gonna have a good time in the boats. Thanks you guys for watching. Check us out on Facebook. Check us out at fishfulthinker.com. Most importantly, tune in next week to see what we're up to. So we appreciate you watching. No, that's the truth.
Form was good, Chad. Your form was perfect.
It hung the
crawled over. It didn't crawl over.
Freaking hung it
onto it.
Why didn't it crawl over it?
Oh, because you were talking. What's that sound? Ka-shunk. Is that what it makes when it goes down?
Yeah, that.
Okay, gotcha.
I wanted to flush it.
Wait. And it went, oh, that feels good. Do it again.
You like that?
I
Yeah,
like that
here you
a
go.
lot.